A kilo of meat is 2,000.
No, but Ozzy,
What I'm saying.
let's get this right.
Yes, yes.
First, our students come here on scholarship.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes, they come on
Full
scholarship. Yes.
Full scholarship. That full scholarship has tuition, accommodation. What about food?
Food, that's what I'm saying. They are given a bit of food. Like now,
What do you mean by a bit of food?
like they're given like rice. They can see for themselves. They're given like a bucket of rice.
Enough.
So it's not enough. It's not enough.
For themselves.
So yes, they cook for themselves. So they're given like
Given food ration.
a ration is a food
Yes.
ration is
Yes.
like now rice and
Yes.
some maybe some
Some basic food
yes,
stuff.
yes,
Yes.
no lentils. So now, if now you have to supplement to buy fruits, to buy vegetables, to buy meat, it's not enough. Because ideally that 4,000 dinars is not for food. It's to help you with airtime, data, that kind of stuff. So it's not support for, extra.
But it's what they also give their own
Yes,
students.
Yes, it's what they give their own students. So you
So how
cannot.
do their students survive?
No,
Or
no,
they buy?
no, they're from. I mean, they come from. This is home. So for their students, their parents are able to support them. But now for Kenyan parents, once you're told your child has gone to Algeria on a full government scholarship, you say God has been faithful, is gracious, and you wash your hands. So when they write home, nobody listens to them that actually they need support. But I can testify as the ambassador here, the students need support because the money they get, and even because of the challenges of the disparities between the official rate and the black market, things here are basically priced at the black market rates.
All right,
So they're double the price for the most part. So that's one of the issue, and the issue of equivalence is also a big problem, especially for the engineers. That issue remains a problem because most of the time when they come home, they're not able to get the equivalence, and again the issue of us being able to visit them, because you see Algeria is a vast country, and it's about other places about 800 kilometers from here, others 500, 400, and all these students are scattered in various wilayas. Now the mission does not have capacity to be able to organize frequent visits because we cannot have them coming to Algeria, because coming to Algeria, I mean to Algiers all the time, it's also very expensive for them. So the proposal here is for the mission to be able to be capacitated to be able to visit the students in different wilayas. You can organize regional meetings for them. You can have maybe your kick off 3 meetings, one in each region. We put them in clusters of regions, and we be able to visit them. And again, at the end of the year, they had proposed to have what they call a family day or a summer camp, whereby now all of them come together here in Algiers and they know each other, because for the first time we organized a graduation ceremony for the 29 students who graduated this year. And some of them were seeing each other for the first time. So we need to have those frequent meetings for the students' body, not only in the regional area, in the regions where we have clustered them, but also once a year, one annual meeting where we bring all the students' body together. Apart from that, we need engagement also from, we had proposed to have an online meeting with the PS diaspora at the PS education, so that they can also be able to air some of the things and see how we can provide solutions to some of the challenges they are having. So, Your Excellency, we are engaged with them. I am very open to I've been having frequent meetings with them since I've been here. I think I've had at least 4 meetings, both physical and online virtual meetings. And I am ready to be able to work with the government, our government, to support them, because not only do we need them to be well, but also to direct them to the areas where we need to build capacity for the government, because they are very critical areas we are thinking of collaborating with Algeria. So if we can channel these scholarships to now those areas like pharmaceutical, oil and gas, so that when they come back to Kenya, they can be able now to plug in terms of our cooperation. So that's how I look at it, and it's a very critical component of diaspora, and we hope together we can be able to find a solution for them. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Balozi. We also came with our Minister for Investments, Trade and Industry, Lee Kenyans, because we were engaged in a trade event. I think he'll be left here for 1 or 2 days. But maybe you can tell us something. Waziri, we have heard what our young people here have said. If you can encourage them a bit.
Thank you. So, thank you, Your Excellency, and our young people who have come this morning to be with us. I think mine is first to encourage you. Most of you are the age of my children. So I think the first thing is to encourage you. You have left your homes, your comfort, to come and try a better tomorrow. So in spite of the challenges, I think the first thing is to remember why you are, why you are here. And I'm sure even all of us, when we studied, wherever we studied, it's never easy. But I think the sacrifices you make now are going to make your tomorrow better, and I think also for your country. I would have wanted to know maybe around how many students we have here, because it helps us to know the magnitude of the problem. Around how many?
112.
112.
Yeah.
And the courses they are doing are largely in the
health sciences, engineering, pharmacy, medicine.
Okay, very good. So I think also maybe as we move forward, this country may have certain things that we may not have, and I think it's really incumbent upon all of us to try and learn something so that the courses you're taking when you go back home, they can be replicated in the various places that you're going to work. For example, Your Excellency, I think one of the issues we'll be trying to look at today with some of the companies here is that Algeria is very advanced in the pharmaceutical space. Nearly 70% of their pharmaceuticals are actually made in this country. They do not import medication, including ARVs and others. So I think for those of you who are doing medicine also, what can we be able to pick, what can we be able to learn, so that as you come back home, we can pick from some of those lessons that are also very critical. I've also had the issue of accreditation. The universities here accredited to Kenya. I think it's unfortunate that when students go abroad, whether in Kenya, China, whichever countries they go to, when they come back, they can't be the ones processing the accreditation. It is the government that we need to be proactive. All South African universities and colleges, we need to have, because one individual now moving from one institution to the other can be quite costly, and you just come back, all you want is a job. So I think it is an area we need to work, so that even before you enroll, you already know that that university is either accredited or not, so that you don't waste maybe 5 years and later on it becomes a big challenge. Also, I would want to mention we have our Balozi here, and I think he has done well to bring you. But I think ultimately the people who represent our nation are the citizens of that nation. So in your university, maybe you're 5 Kenyans, maybe you're 10 Kenyans. You are the diplomat of Kenya. If you do good, then people will know that Kenyan people are according to the attributes you have. If you're a criminal, if you do all the negative things, then the association with that country will be as from how you present yourself. So I know we have our official diplomat here, but at the college and wherever you are, in the social places, in church and wherever you go, I think it's good to know that you are the representative of Kenya. And I think because you're far from home, when one of you is in trouble, I think it's good to create the necessary social networks so that if somebody is falling into a problem, you can be able to help each other to stand up. If a new one comes, like the one who was said is reported this year, you welcome him, get him to make himself comfortable or herself comfortable, and I think together we can be able to move on. Lastly, in way of a challenge, I think for our students who are back in Kenya, I think our expectations are very different from those who have traveled a bit. I am sure some of you, because you studied in secondary and primary back at home, you probably now see the world slightly different from our brothers at home. Is that so?
Yeah.
Huh? In what ways?
In many ways.
Huh? There's one particular way I'm interested in. Huh? Yeah? Like, for example, liberties. Freedom, isn't it? That freedom also comes with limitations, isn't it? Can you post the things you post at home? Huh? Can you do that? And if you did, what would happen to you? Huh?
You can be
deported.
Scholarship can be taken away.
So I think it's also good, you know, when you're at home, because we are used to an open space with no ceiling. You can say anything, you can do anything. When you come also and see that it's not the whole world that is like that. At home, even in my own village, I'm able to access internet everywhere, anywhere, even in rural areas in Kenya. And the penetration of internet in Kenya is very high. Like people almost that's something we take for granted. But I think when you travel out, including in developed nations, you begin to realize it is not natural. It is not normal. It is something that we have worked very hard. And for our students, I'm told also your integration into the university, our foundational primary and secondary school is also very good. So Kenyan students also have a good reputation in terms of adapting across the universities in the whole world. And I think that has also given us a high demand for Kenyan graduates across the world. So that when you finish and you present that you're a Kenyan, first you have the right attitude, you have a good foundation, you can work anywhere in the world. And I'm sure you know, Your Excellency, I'm sure the programs that you're running and the labor mobility issues. The reason why we have such a huge demand for Kenyans is because they have a work ethic that cannot be found anywhere else. So be our ambassadors, keep our name flying, and be strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Waziri. Very well. We also are with our brother, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula. He's a very seasoned diplomat, former Minister of Foreign Affairs. So he understands some of those things you're saying much better. I want to request him now to greet us.
Thank you.
Karibu.
Thank you, Excellency, honorable members of Parliament, Ambassador, and our students. Good morning.
Good morning.
To begin with, Your Excellency, we must appreciate the government of Algeria for extending scholarships to our students. We can't take that for granted. And we can't take that for granted because we have many big friends who don't extend this kind of gesture to our country. Yesterday, the President of Algeria in his address said Algeria extends 68,000 scholarships to African students. A sacrifice few countries make. And we must start from there that we are grateful. Secondly, many countries that offer scholarships to our country, they don't allow us to access professional courses. They give us scholarships in humanities, go and study fine arts and other disciplines. They keep a preserve of medicine, engineering, and those premier courses to themselves. We are grateful that they have opened up this for our students. Excellency, I've been involved in negotiating for scholarships for our students for a long time. In March 2023, I was here with Nanok and a few other members. We negotiated for an expansion of our scholarships to 100 per year. I'm told this year is going to 116. 150. 150. And, they are good scholarships because if they can give you tuition, give you accommodation, and rations, however inadequate, that are reasonable scholarships. What we haven't done back home is what Balos has mentioned, that we have pigeonholed diaspora to mean Kenyans who work out there, and forgotten our students. So the first thing we should do, na hii ni kazi ya nyinyi wabunge, Whoever is in the Committee of Education, go and tell them. And if none of you is, cause the chairman to come and see me. We discuss with them to engage the Minister of Education, to engage the quality assurance and the quality verification units, so that if we have students here in Algeria, it should not be left to the student to qualify, graduate, and come and start roaming from office to office looking for accreditation. The ministry should engage the institutions here and see what they're offering their students, what is the local equivalent, because when you apply for a job, you are normally told a BA or an equivalent, this or an equivalent, so that we have categorized equivalents, that when students come, you look at Kwamboka's units and what we offer locally and you say this can be banded here, you qualify and you go and get your qualifications verified. The second thing is, I think your president has legitimately requested that for your stipends, Parliament again can find out whether you can expand the outreach of help to a limited degree, because you're already privileged with full scholarship for tuition, accommodation, which your colleagues at home don't have. So we can look at how we can expand help to some degree after you have sat down with your ambassador and everybody and agreed that the bare minimum you require is this. I say this, Your Excellency, because I know many of the children who get scholarships to come from Kenya to these countries largely come from low-level families. Those people, our Bunge, their children are elsewhere. So many of you come from families who, as Ambassador says, akipeleka mtoto anaosha mkono, enda usome na utafute kazi huko, usaidie wenzako nyumbani while you are a student. Si mnaambiwa hivyo? Yeah, that is the expectation of the parents, that you have gone out there, as you study, you have to look for some few dollars, send home to feed your mother, send home to clothe your sister and brother. Many of you come from those backgrounds. So it's important that we don't have a big envelope in Kenya for these kind of things, but we can strain and see how best we can accommodate you. But more importantly, this privilege you have been given to come and study premier courses, medicine, pharmacy, engineering. The world is turning around this kind of disciplines. Put in your efforts, put in your all, and come back consummate professionals that can help run our country. As you are here, you are also our ambassadors, as Waziri says. What I would advise Balozi, with technology, and the realistic position is we are not going to send you money to roam around Algeria to meet Kenyans. It's difficult. There's no money. With technology, you can have weekly Zoom meetings with these students. Only where there is a real need for you to go is when you can strain yourself and go. But you can organize college clusters that this weekend I'll have a Zoom meeting with this Haribo Medini University. I'll have a Zoom meeting with this Haribo Medini University students. I'll talk with them, I'll listen to them, they'll tell me their challenges, send them to Nairobi, never mind whether they'll be addressed or not, but you'll have discharged your honors to dispatch the cable to Nairobi to say, I've talked to students, they have this, they have this, they have that. That will help you. We also, Your Excellency, need to negotiate a little further with the government of Algeria. When I was Foreign Affairs Minister, I negotiated with Australia. Students who go to Australia get student visa plus limited work permit. so that, like pharmacy students, it will not be a bad idea for you to have a weekend attachment to a pharmaceutical plant where you can be able to learn on the job, so to speak, and earn some little money. Their scholarships are very strict, no work. Sindio? Yes. If we can, na hii balozi hiyo ni kazi yako. Open doors here and negotiate for our students to have some limited work permit on their visa, so that those who are able to spare a little time, because this is a very fast growing economy. So opportunities are there. Those who are doing engineering, you have petrochemical companies, you have oil companies, those road construction companies, you have pharmaceutical companies, we have big agricultural output companies, so they can also be able to support themselves, because you support yourself from early age to be a responsible citizen. I saw an article where young people from rich families don't even know how to make their beds in the morning. They're crying that, "Mommy, the nanny has not come to my bedroom." We don't want to bring up children in that form. So mine is just to encourage you. We are going to get many more students coming in. As students, President, encourage your colleagues that your glass is more half full than half empty, despite all these difficulties, so that we can be able to encourage those who are at home to come. But the issue of small stipends, not just for you, but for students all around. We have students in Hungary, we have students in Australia, in Pakistan, in Cuba, and many other places where they face similar hardships, and I think Parliament can look at that and see how best to assist you. Because even if the executive decides, Parliament must appropriate for the money to come to assist you. Thank you very much. I encourage you, work hard, be good ambassadors, be good citizens, and when you come back, bring the discipline that we have in this country back to Kenya. Kenya, we have too many haki zetu that have derailed part of our programs because everybody must have their way. It's a good thing in human life, but sometimes, there's no gain without pain. So we must be ready to sacrifice a few of our comforts for the better of society. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I think mine is to thank you, first Balozi and the team at our embassy here in Algiers. Thank you very much. On behalf of all of us, you have made our stay here very comfortable for the last 2 days. Actually, we really appreciate that despite our mission being not having so many staff members, you were able to organize for us to have a good stay here for the last 2 days. Let me also take this chance to thank the student representatives who have come to this breakfast meeting. We had asked to see you because we had a very short period here. We were only here yesterday and we are leaving today. And we understand that some of the students who are studying here live outside Algiers and they study in universities which are a bit far away. So it was not possible to organize to meet all the students. That would have been the best arrangement, and we hope that next time we can spend time to meet all the students if possible, because we are not a very big number. although the number is growing. We are grateful to the government of Algeria for extending scholarships to Kenya and Kenyan students. That's a good gesture. And I think we're increasingly also offering scholarships to African countries, actually. So it's mutual. And I think going forward, we don't mind also having a few scholarships for students from here to come and study at home. The reason is Africa must learn to build itself. Africa is a big economy, 54 nations, 1.4 billion people, is a huge market. Africa is even a powerhouse intellectually. It's only that we have not harnessed the intellectual resources of Africa properly. And I think history has been distorted. You may want to know, for those of you maybe who are not historians, that one of the oldest universities was established in Africa, the University of Timbuktu, many centuries ago. It is older than Oxford and others, by far. And we had great mathematicians in those centuries who had mathematical prowess that was globally acclaimed. Africans, black Africans living in Africa many centuries ago. We had
like Mansa Musa.
Absolutely. We had traders, commercial people like Mansa Musa, the richest man to have ever lived, richer than the Bill Gates of today.
Yes.
People who made a caravan from Mali to Mecca with thousands of camels, and everywhere he went, he was buying his way, so that he could pass other kingdoms and giving people gold. And he had a lot of gold, a lot of wealth, and he never exhausted his money all the way to Mecca. Okay, so we had people who invented, great medical doctors from Egypt. Okay, look at the architecture of Egypt, for example, and you can go on and on and on. So from business to mathematics to medicine to all the fields, we've had a lot of innovations from Africa, but I think history has been convoluted to look as if we are intellectual dimwits and we play second fiddle to other parts of the world. That's not true. So we must develop people-to-people ties and have exchange programs within Africa. I dare say that in some respects, in some disciplines, we are ahead of Algeria. But in others, they are ahead of us. And that is the truth. So the best thing is for us to learn from each other. Where they are strong, they help our students to access that expertise and that training. And where we are strong, also we do vice versa. Listening to the president of Algeria yesterday, he is a very strong Pan-Africanist. He believes in Africa, and he is very deliberate in terms of engagement. We had occasion to have a bilateral event, bilateral meeting with him yesterday, with some of my brothers here in the delegation. And Algeria is keen to opening up more to Kenya and other African countries in the trade. And going forward, we're going to firm up our relations in a meeting to be held in Nairobi in November, so that we can start exporting many of our products here. And they are keen to buy our coffee, to buy our tea, to buy our meat, to buy our powdered milk, to buy our avocado, our citrus fruits. We just need to firm up the trade agreements. That's why the trade minister is here, and there's a joint commission for cooperation to take place in November to firm up some of the discussions we are having. We are also working towards operationalizing direct flights between Algiers and Nairobi to facilitate movement, because today many people want to come to Algiers have to go through Middle East or through Europe, which is not very tidy, and therefore the air services will ease movement of people and goods, and also promote people to people ties, and then the trade will also even cement our relationship. The education programs, we are going to make them mutual, so that again we build on our relationship with Algeria. As you're aware, Algeria's economy is slightly ahead of Kenya's, and we are making progress to make sure that we catch up. And when President Ruto took over in 2022, Kenya's economy was the 8th largest economy in Africa. But in the last 2 years, we've made some good progress. The last ranking, which was done by the International Monetary Fund and other agencies, including the Afro-Exim Bank, right now, Kenya is the 6th largest economy in Africa. We've been able in 2 years to overtake Angola, which is an oil-producing country, a very strong OPEC country. The economy there has been powered by oil, but we've overtaken Angola, we've overtaken Ethiopia, and only 5 countries are ahead of us: South Africa, Egypt, Nigeria, Algeria, and Morocco. In that order. And we are making progress. There's nothing that prevents Kenya's economy from being #1 in our lifetime in Africa. It is possible. So let me say a few things. I don't want to keep you for long. I join my colleagues who have told you it's a privilege. First of all, Mr. President, it is a privilege to get an opportunity to study outside your country. And it has its own, there is a way in which someone who has been able, especially in their youth, to get an experience outside their homeland, there is a way in which it prepares you better than the rest of your colleagues who don't get that opportunity. I know it is challenging to study outside the country, especially socially. The first flight out of home, you are normally excited. But upon landing at your destination, by the second day, the loneliness that starts sinking in can be very devastating. You start calculating how many kilometers you are away from home. You start thinking how you will not see your siblings and your parents for a while. And you start imagining if anything happened to you where you are, what would happen to you. So that's disconnection, and loneliness sets in. But over time, the thing stabilizes. But you're never the same again. So I understand the president's tone when the students' body president is saying that you're a bit disconnected, there's a bit of anxiety and so forth and so on, especially when you have to struggle with things about adequate upkeep and so on and so on. I want to encourage you and tell you that we are very proud of you. As my colleagues have said, we've never had the 112 of you here. We haven't had any incidents, and that means you're keeping yourself together and you're focusing on what brought you here. When you get your qualifications, it's up to you to decide where to work, because as a young person, you have options. You can come home, and home is always the best. But if you find work elsewhere also, we encourage you to work because you're still young and flexible. You are not restricted like the older folks would be restricted. Back at home, we are trying to create enough opportunities for young people. And for the first time, we have a very deliberate program to support young people. The reforms that we have done in the last 3 years in the education system back at home are deliberately targeting preparing young people for better career outcomes, because we realize our education system was wired in such a way that unless you are able to excel in sciences and academic output only, then your future as a young person is restricted. We have expanded the pathways of success. That is what we have done with the reforming what we used to call CBC, competence-based curriculum, which now we are calling competence-based education and training, CBET. So that those of us who can pursue academic excellence like yourselves, there's a pathway for you in science, in other disciplines that are there, including humanities. So we have a science pathway, a social sciences pathway, and we also have a sports, arts, and creative economy, creative industry pathway to prepare other people who may not be necessarily talented for academic scientific pursuit, but they can also make a living through sports, arts, and the creative performances. That education reform, curriculum reform, is deliberately for young people, not necessarily you because you are at the tail end of your education, but your siblings who come will find a better and more empowering education curriculum. We have also made significant reforms in the tertiary institutions level, because in 2022 September, we found that there are more university students in Kenya than there are tertiary education students, which is an anomaly, because the education pyramid should just be a pyramid. You know, there should be more pupils at the primary level, less in the secondary level, and so on the university you find very few people. That's how the education pyramid should look like. But we found that we had more university students, almost 1 million students in 2022 in universities. But then when it came to tertiary institutions, we only had 297,000. So we made some reforms which are gradually reversing that trend, because technical and vocational education is important for the economy to stabilize. For one engineer, you need like 5-6 mid-level experts to support that engineer. Otherwise, you cannot tell the engineer to go and start doing the work that is supposed to be doing by technicians and other professionals at the mid-level. So today, that number in tertiary institutions has risen from 297,000 to 718,000. By December, we'll hit 1 million. And by next year, December 2026, we will reach 2 million TVET students. That has been done deliberately. First of all, we have modularized the program. Modularization means we have come out of a situation where you had to go to college and study for 3.5 years before you get your diploma in a tertiary institution. Many of the people who require technical and vocational education are Juakali people who already have some knowledge, but they just want to be certified and to qualify. So they can go study for a module, go back and continue what they were doing, and then they come back, do another module. Over time, they can even spend 5-6 years, but over time they accumulate enough modules and they qualify to get the certification. So we have introduced what we call recognition of prior learning policy. We have also introduced something called dual training policy, which makes it mandatory before you graduate, you must have industry experience. So that TVET space, again, we are doing well. At the university level, back at home, we have also worked on the funding model to make it more student-centered as opposed to course and discipline-centered. Before, we had what we called the differentiated unit cost, where you say to study medicine, this is the money we need to fund the university per student. Without asking, this student you're saying should get, let's say, 600,000 shillings a year to study medicine. Whose child is it? Is it the child of the deputy president, or is it a child of a Mama Mboga somewhere in Kaloleni? Is it? If it is the child of the deputy president, let the deputy president pay 600,000 shillings for the child at the University of Nairobi. Don't just give money for students in universities without asking whose children are these. Some of the children who come from academies where they are paying huge amounts of money, some of them in the British curriculum schools, where the student, the parents were paying 1 million shillings per term, like St. Andrew's story. But when they go to study medicine at the University of Nairobi, they are competing for funding and bursaries with poor students from Turkana, from Kitui, from Kaloleni, who have made it to study medicine, and the first time they saw a microscope was on examinations day because the school they were in did not have a laboratory. They went to do examination in a neighboring school. That is the first time that child saw a microscope. They qualified to do medicine, and now they are competing for funding with a child who was in Riara School, Makini School, or the Brighton. So we are working on the funding model to make sure that universities are stable, and also we have it is student-centered. We are funding the student depending on the needs of that student. So I just want to encourage you. We are making those reforms. But in terms of where you are now, because you're already here, and the key thing you're looking at is what opportunities there are for you. We are working to improve and add more opportunities in the economy to make sure we absorb as many young people as possible in the job market. And we have about 5 programs for job creation, some of them unskilled and semi-skilled job creation strategy, like the Climate Works program, which is now employing the first 200,000 young people will be employed this month. Then we are also increasing the number of students, not students, workers we are employing in the public service. You've heard about how phenomenal we have been able to reduce the number of jobless teachers. We have now employed 76,000 teachers. We'll add another 24,000 in December to make 100,000 teachers, which is a record in 3 years, because we've been employing 4,000 teachers before, 5,000 teachers a year. Now we will do 100,000 in 3 years. Now 100,000 teachers is 30% of all the teachers that have ever been employed in Kenya since independence. In other words, between 1963 and 2022, we had employed as a government 300,000 teachers. But between 2022 and December 2025, we will have employed 100,000 teachers. That is 30% in 3 years of all the teachers employed since independence. We are increasing the numbers in other fields also, but we are also working on the economy so that the private sector can accommodate more workers. And we are targeting that to expand big businesses, mid-level business, and even small businesses to accommodate more people in the job market. You've seen inflation now is under control. The macroeconomic indicators are beginning to show that the economy is stabilizing. That's why the Kenya's ranking has gone higher. We've had a stable inflation rate. We wanted to keep it under 5%. It's actually oscillating between 3 and 4% for more than a year now. The currency has been very, very stable for the last 1.5 years. It's between 128 shillings to the dollar to 129. We found it at 167, and that was quite erratic. We have now enough cash reserves for foreign exchange, which we didn't have. The oil marketers in 2022 could not access even dollars to import oil. Today, we have enough import cover. We found there was no import cover, and people were scrambling to get foreign exchange for international trade. But today we have enough import cover for almost this 5.5 months, 6 months. So even if we shut the economy for 6 months, we would have enough foreign exchange to carry out international trade. So those general macroeconomic indicators, the cash ratio reserve, inflation, stability of the shilling, and also working on the prices of essential commodities, all those things are helping the economy to improve, to stabilize and create jobs for many young people, not just in the public sector, but also in the private sector. So I want to encourage you that the future looks good. We are creating jobs also in the Kazi Maju program, the labor mobility program. We are encouraging young people, if you find a job somewhere, just go and do it. And we've already negotiated 6 bilateral labor agreements, and we are negotiating another 13. We will also explore whether we can negotiate one with Algeria, a bilateral labor agreement, so that before we send our young people abroad to work, we know where they are going to work, who is their employer, the salary, and we have a plan to repatriate them should they get into trouble. So we have already signed 6 bilateral labor agreements. We are negotiating another 13 to make a total of 19. Nothing prevents us from trying to explore the Algerian labor market now that the Algerian economy is looking at opening up even in matters of foreign labor. So we are creating jobs through the labor mobility program by placing young Kenyans who can find jobs abroad. The last 3 years, we have now placed 430,000 young people in various countries. We want to push that to 1 million young people. And we also want to expand, especially those of you who are in engineering and architecture and construction industry. We have a very, very robust housing program. The affordable housing program is one of the best in the world. And that program in 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years will push. If there is one asset that whose value, if you have many Kenyans owning their own homes, even if it's a part paid, it automatically improves the Human Development Index. That's how Singapore, Malaysia, and South Korea found itself in the first world. Because in Singapore, for example, 99% of citizens are homeowners. So if you value the Human Development Index, a person who owns a home, even if that home is 1.5 million, 2 million, that asset alone is a wealth creation trigger. So we are in that housing program and market construction program and hostels program we are constructing for students using the housing fund. We have already employed young people now who are working there, oscillating between 320,000 to 350,000 depending on the number of projects ongoing at a particular time. We want to push that program to be able to absorb 1 million young people as architects, engineers, quantity surveyors, plumbers, electricians, masons, and even casual laborers. If you have 1 million young people in the affordable housing space, 1 million young people in the Kazi Maju labor mobility program, then you have another 1 million young Kenyans in the digital jobs program, which we are also pursuing. We are constructing digital hubs across Kenya. Right now, the number that we are working in the ICT hub is about 185,000, but the potential is so huge, we can push that to 1 million young people in a very short period of time. So if you have 1 million young people doing digital jobs, 1 million young people doing work abroad, 1 million young people under affordable housing and related program, then you're beginning now to reduce the pressure of unemployment and the pressure of lack of income opportunities. So good people, the country is headed in the right direction, but we need to sustain the momentum, not for 5 years, not for 10 years, not for 15 years. We need a generation. If you look at the history of countries that has moved from poverty to greatness, you need at least 30, 40 years of uninterrupted, well-crafted policies and programs, not think you're good. So we are on course, and whatever input you want us to put on board, please tell us. We listen. If you think you have issues with some of the things we do, those of us who are in government, please tell us, inform us. But what we will not be encouraging is people hiding under making the country better, to ruin the country, to run down the country and to endanger this public safety and things like that. So we are good. Tumesikia muko na maneno, and we will do something about the things you have said. And, I want to take responsibility for those issues, so that going forward, working with the colleagues and both in the executive and in Parliament issue, that's not a difficult issue. And it's not just affecting you who are studying out of the country. It's even affecting some of the universities at home. And because of a disconnect between the professional bodies and the university, the council, the Commission for University Education, we have a disconnect. The Commission for University Education is the one that tells the universities, you can offer this course, you can offer engineering, you can offer law, you can offer medicine. But to practice medicine or engineering or law, you need the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council. You need, if you're practicing law, the Council for Legal Education, isn't it?
Yes.
And the Law Society. Law Society. And the engineers, you need the Institute of Engineers or something, isn't it? So we must link the three: the university, the Council for University Education, and the professional, the people who decide who practices. They must be aligned before you start a course, that this course is adequate to make you what you want to become. That's where the gap is. And Parliament will be very useful in terms of giving us the legal framework for that. So I will take responsibility for that. I work with everybody now to, you know, the ministry and everybody to make sure, and of course with the support of the Speaker here in Parliament, we will correct that, not just for Algeria, but across the board, for all, especially the professional courses where you need a professional body to accredit you or to license you to practice your profession. You are saying that you need a bit of support to supplement your upkeep here. Let me take that home and see what we can do. I need a discussion with the ministry and see whether we can have something modest. But what is coming to my mind, even as I look at that issue, is I see no reason why using the, you know, now we have increased funding for higher education loans board. Last year we had given help to 36 billion. This year we are giving them 41 billion, an increase by 5 billion. We are funding the upkeep of our students in universities and colleges, including TVETs. I see no reason why students abroad, on a case-by-case basis perhaps, who would be on scholarships that just require modest support, why we should not factor in that request. I am very optimistic we'll find a way of doing that, but give us a bit of time so that we go and consult and see what will come out. Balozi here will communicate the outputs in a few once we are back home. Otherwise, equivalence, the upkeep thing, and then jobs for you. I agree with what the speaker said, that we can find out, Balozi, how you know, many countries that have foreign students, they allow them to do limited work, like limited work over weekend or after hours, so that they earn a bit of support. And I think if we engage, the Algerian government looks friendly. We can start from somewhere, and we don't have a big student community anyway. And Kenya being a country with very, very good workers, that's an area. Like the area of student work program, we can see whether we can start with something there. Otherwise, nawashukuru sana. It's taken a bit long. We need to end it there so that we travel. I think we have a flight in the next 20 minutes, so let's have a bite and so forth. Yes, Wanjiku? Other than the breakfast, is there something else? Maybe I'll take a photo with the students up inje with my colleagues here. We can take a photo as we leave. So we have a bite in like 15 minutes. We take a photo here. Alafu uone hawa wadosi wasalamie. Nimetumwa na hawa watu kwenu kwa maneno kidogo hapo. Asante sana. God bless you.